And I'm Phil.
Welcome to our happy hour, and it's lovely to see you all in tonight and chatting already.
Yes, lots of chatting going on, lots of people. I can see somebody's been making meatloaf, but they haven't ate any yet.
Nice.
I think I saw that possibly Laura Lakefrog's going to have to watch afterwards because one of her little cats isn't well.
Oh.
So she's had to go, so that's sad. But lots of things going on here, lots of people exchanging. I think we're talking recipes at this point because I can see eggs getting mentioned.
Ryan, Lexi's mum is in hospital, so Elaine, if you're watching, if they've got decent internet connection, which is dubious, then hope you get better really soon, and we are all thinking about you.
Yeah, and if you can't get the internet, then we'll trust Lexi to pass on our best wishes.
We said that.
Our best wishes, and hope for a speedy recovery. It was really positive to see that Lexi mentioned in the comments yesterday they've caught it quite early, and that's obviously a tremendous benefit when you're suffering with these sorts of conditions.
Yeah.
So hopefully, fingers crossed, Mum will be home very soon.
Yes, it'd be lovely.
Yeah, so who's in first?
Who's in first? Oh, right, got to go right to the top. Look at all these chats.
I know.
Wow.
I know.
First person in was Bonnie Tyler Fan 34. Well done, Bonnie Tyler Fan.
There we go.
Second place was the lady herself, Lexi B, Lexi's Locks and Crafts. And in third place was Lisa Roberts. So well done to you three.
Go.
Just pipped to the post was Rachel Bailey. So almost there, Rachel.
There we go.
Right, I'm going to get all the way back to the bottom now. Wow, chatty.
And we've got 40 in at the moment, so lovely to have 40 of you with us.
Yes, on a Saturday evening when you could be doing something else, you've decided to come along to our house, to our happy hour, so you are very welcome.
And of course, those in the UK, it's not just a Saturday evening, it's a bank holiday weekend, and we have just had the warmest day of the year.
Oh, it's been boiling. It's really lovely. My garden is so dry. We're not used to having a dry garden. Our garden goes down in layers now, bottom layer, unless it's very hot, it's like a bog. But there's no chance of that today.
No, through the gate and out the field is probably still quite boggy,
yes.
But in the garden it's not at all. And of course, warmest day of the year today. It was the warmest day of the year yesterday. It was the warmest day of the year the day before. And I've got a sneaky feeling it's going to be the warmest day of the year tomorrow.
Could be.
I get a feeling it's going to be warm because I said to Caroline, look at this, and put on the BBC weather for the week, and it was sun, and that don't happen often in the valleys of Wales.
Oh, there you are. Lexi said she'll pass the message on to her mum tomorrow. Thank you, Lexi. That's great.
So much.
And let's have a look. Oh, it's Memorial Day. Memorial Day weekend, Phyllis was saying. So they've got Monday off. Oh, same as us then.
No, we've got
the Monday off.
We've got Monday on. It used to be called Whitsun Bank Holiday. Then they decided to call it Spring Bank Holiday.
Yeah.
But this year we have had 3 Mondays off work. Well, I haven't, because obviously I work for myself.
Yeah, it's not
but
the same.
But those who work for others have had 3 Mondays off work. For firstly, they have what we used to call May Day, but now they don't call it May Day. They call it May Bank Holiday. Then the next week we had the weekend of the coronation, and now this weekend we've got what used to be Whitsun.
Yeah, well, Beata said happy Whitsun from Germany, and where's it gone? There was a question, I can't find it now. Abigail, do you celebrate a Memorial Day in the UK like the US because of World War II?
We have Armistice Day, which is called Remembrance Sunday. So the nearest Sunday to November the 11th is, because what we do, Armistice Day came from World War One. The armistice was signed on the 11th of the 11th at 11 o'clock. And therefore, every year on that day, on the 11th, they have 2 minutes silence at 11 o'clock. Even now, it didn't used to happen, but now even in the supermarkets and that, they will announce that we are having a 1 minute silence or a 2 minute silence. There's big parades at the cenotaphs on the nearest Sunday, so we don't have a bank holiday. We don't have the Monday off.
No.
But that is the day that they use for remembering all of those who've fallen in battles for the First World War, the Second World War, and any other occasion. And they lay the king now, it was the Queen for 50 odd years, 70 odd years, lay a wreath in London, and dignitaries and military personnel lay wreaths at the cenotaphs throughout the country.
Yeah.
So that's how they do it here. They just carried on with the First World War memorials, and they carry them over. But we don't have a specific day. We don't have a day off. Mind you, we do have a lot of days off, but we don't have a day off for that.
Christina said we had clouds today in Scotland, but it was dry. Very nice. We had a lovely summer when we lived up in Scotland. It was 32 degrees, was it?
It was.
Silly, we
Yeah,
never
it
expected
really,
it. It was
really
wonderful.
hot. Well, in all honesty, when we were planning this holiday, because we've just come back, we were away for 8 days with Abby, and when we were going, I said to Caroline, we'll need to make 2 videos while we're away, because we'll need one to edit immediately we come home, and one ready to edit when we get back, because we're away again tomorrow now, because we're going up to Hastings. So I said, I looked at the weather and I said, we've got 2 half days when it's no rain. And then that was a fortnight before when we were planning on the long range weather forecast. But when we actually went, it was sunny when we arrived, and it didn't rain for the 8 days. It's still sunny now, so this wasn't expected even 3 weeks ago.
No, it's very nice.
It's a pleasant surprise, and the result was we did make our videos and we could choose our own timing.
Yep.
So there will be videos coming from Somerset for the next few weeks.
Yes, we've got some good things coming up.
Yes, indeed. Some very nice places, and a bit of a change to be out to Wales.
It was, yes, because I put a little flag now if we're in Wales, and if not, I put a UK flag. But yes, it's nice to have a change and have a different flag on our thumbnails.
And it was nice to be back off in the caravan again.
It was, yes. We do like our caravan.
This is our longest break in the caravan. 4 nights was the longest we've done previously. We did 8 nights this time, and we did 5 of those down in Waterrow near Tiverton, and we did 3 of them up at Glastonbury.
Yes.
Up at Glastonbury. So
our first ever 2-stop in the caravan. It was really nice packing up and then thinking, I'm not going home, I'm going somewhere else.
And technically we should have stayed until Friday.
Yes, but you were busy.
12 o'clock. But that wouldn't have worked because we were 2 hours from where we live, and I had a service at 1:30. So I had to get back on Thursday night. But we had a good time.
We did.
We had a great time.
But Janet Hill said, missed you all so much. I've been tending my garden and been on vacation. Hope you're well. Yes, all well, good. Thank you. And Lynn B said, every day's a bank holiday now I've retired. Can't wait.
Yes, yes.
Right then, I think we need to be getting on with the question.
Well, I think Ed's getting a bit sort of edgy because he's already put B. So
Wait a minute.
I think Ed's dropping a hint. Give me a question.
Lexi said, yes, Phil, we saw the picture of you and Manky hard at work, lounging in the deck chairs.
We had it. I tell you what, that was an amazing place.
I know, it was the Clark's Village in Street, and it was done like a park, beautiful.
I haven't been in such a
we don't want to give too much away because you haven't
centre.
seen the video yet, have you?
No, that one's yet to come. We did a video at Street, but it was an incredible place. It really was. And I said it. Ordinarily, you go into any public space and it's keep off the grass. You go in there and they've got these beautiful lush lawns laid in the middle of the shopping precincts. They put out all the deck chairs just for you to sit under the shade of the trees, which is great.
For all the husbands to sit under the shade of the trees while the wives spend the money in the shops, I think. And even though that sounds a little bit stereotypical, it's generally what happens.
Actually, I met a family tonight.
Oh, hello, Jeannie.
Completely reversed that stereotype, because I met a gentleman tonight. I'm doing a service for his wife. And he said he used to take his wife and his son and he'd drop them off at the football ground to watch Bristol City play, and he'd go do the shopping and he'd come back and pick them up at the end and bring them home because his wife was a football fan.
All right.
So there we go.
That wouldn't happen in our family.
No, so you've got to be careful with stereotypes. You never know what's around the corner. Right then.
Phyllis said yesterday's video was maybe the prettiest LG video ever. Thank you, Phyllis.
There we go.
Oh, it was just a gift, especially that snowball tree. Oh, I love that. Anyway, let's have a question.
Right then. During our visit, Caroline, as is her usual arrangement on these occasions, had a little look in the shop windows.
Yep.
Checked out the estate agents, but also checked out the courthouse, which is now a rather...
Oh, Christina Mitazaki. Well done, you interrupted Phil. Thank you so much. We got a 65 Swedish crown super chat and a lemon waving hello with his little pear waving hello too. Oh, thank you ever so much. Thank you, Christina. We really do appreciate that. So kind of you.
We do indeed. That's very generous of you, Christina.
And very well done for interrupting Phil.
Yes. I forgot what I was saying now. I'm all right. I've got my question.
Right.
Also, the courthouse, which is... a sort of high-end interior decorator's shop.
Oh yeah, it's very expensive.
Yes, and we loved the building. We loved the carvings on the front were just unbelievable. And I did read somewhere that they think some of those were taken from older buildings and repurposed. So could have well been carvings from a church or something like that. But the question I want to ask is, it's had a number of uses, but what was the original use of the courthouse? It was a house and a solicitor's office, B, doctor's surgery, or C, bank.
Go!
What do you think it was originally? When it was built, they built it as a house, but it also had a commercial use because it's right on the high street. Do you think it was a solicitor's office, a doctor's surgery, or a bank?
The answers are coming in. I love the way it goes in waves. It was mainly B's, now it's gone on to mainly C's. I wonder if we're going to come back to mainly A's. But which one's right? Are these guesses or do you know?
Well, I did say in the film what it was. So
it's remembering something like that because it's just something that's said and gone and then you don't remember it for the questions.
Yeah, I thought give him a chance.
Right, so do we have a winner?
We do indeed.
Right.
We do. And the winner is...
Drum roll, please.
With the answer C, because it was...
There were many C's.
A bank. There were later on, but at first, most people seem to think it was a doctor's surgery.
Yes. Oh, that's right. There were many A's. Sorry, ignore me.
But
it's been a long day.
Mike Sage was the second
Well
answer
done,
in,
Mike.
and he got it. Then we've got to go down another 3 or 4 before we find Lexi B.
Well done, Lexi.
And then Christina Mitazaki.
Well done, Christina.
So we've got Mike, Lexi and Christina. You're taking gold, silver and bronze on our very first question.
Yes, well done.
I thought it was quite unusual to build your house and have a bank in the house. But such a gorgeous building. And it was I would never have dated it from looking at it. All those heavy carvings and everything else, I would have thought it was much older than it was because it was built in the 1800s. But that carving and everything almost takes you back to like the 1500s. So I think there's probably some truth in the fact that some of those panels...
They just looked like they didn't originally belong on the building. They were too old and slightly out of character.
And repurposed. As part of the property, which is a brilliant way to preserve an item. Rather than it stand in a museum, it was there on the front of the building. And you just go down the high street and
everyone can see it.
There it is.
Hello, West Country Medlocks.
Hi there.
Right, so now let's have some... Just a second, I got to find my little jingle. I'm getting so many on you now. And I got it. I've got some news for you. Now I've got to read this again because my memory is shot. But this is all about a lady called Mary Strand. And how long before you give up on a lost object? Now Mary Strand happened to drop her ring that her husband bought her down the toilet.
And he bought it down the toilet?
No, he bought it her and she dropped it down the toilet. Stop being difficult, it's very late. Well, anyway, she tried what she could and she couldn't get it back. So her husband was a plumber. So he tried, he did all the checks he could and he couldn't find it. So it was gone. And the years went by and it was obviously never coming back. And then 13 years later, a sewage worker in, and I will check exactly where, I think it was in something beginning with M, Minnesota, I got it right, in Rogers in Minnesota, he was looking, just gazing out, and he saw something catch his eye and thought, that looks metallic, it looks gold. He picked it out and turns out it was the ring 13 years later. It was verified by 2 jewellers who looked at pictures of her wearing the ring. It genuinely was her ring. So 13 years later, her ring turned up, which is a good lesson to all of us. Don't give up, because there's always a chance.
You never know.
Yes, where there's life, there's hope, they say, isn't it?
Indeed. But I'm sure she was well chuffed and shocked.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect. Imagine getting the call.
And from what I understand, they put it out on social media. So, chances of them finding it, chances of her noticing on social media that it was there. Then she sends in a picture of her ring. Then they get it verified and everything else.
Yeah.
So many hoops to jump through, and reunited with her ring. I'm sure her husband was happy as well.
Yeah, I bet. Right, so what are we going to do next? Because we got lots of things. I think we really need to do another. Go on then, show you. Do you want to show what you got in your bag?
I'll show what I bought now, because you just done your news.
Right.
And then I'll do a bit of happy news later on, and then we'll show what you bought. Okie
dokie.
So this is what I bought. You may remember from the show. Here we go.
This is now permanently stuck in a bag.
It is. It's stuck in a bag. Hang on.
Oh, the suspense.
Stuck in the bag. Here you go. Get him in the bag.
Oh, it was quite cheap.
Look at that.
Cheap.
That's my present from this week's video. And it was reduced. There we go. It was reduced from £7.50 to, was it £4.99?
I love the name on it. It is a rusty bird, and it's called Rusty Bird.
Yeah, it hasn't gone rusty. It was meant to be rusty. Rusty bird.
Yep, so that's going on your shed, isn't it?
I'm not sure yet. I'm thinking shed, but I have to be careful because I have to find a way to fix it, because I can't go putting screws through the felt, because that wouldn't be good. But I will find somewhere down near the shed for my rusty bird, because it's become quite trendy ever since the Angel of the North, I think. When they stuck that up with the intention that it would go rusty. Then they've been building everything. There's footbridges going over the dual carriageway now, and they're all gone rusty. Everybody's building rusty things, so I've got a rusty
Some of the cars we owned would probably be quite trendy now.
They would.
We've had some rust buckets in our time. They weren't just rusty. They had holes, and some of them you could see the floor through the bottom of the car.
Yeah, yeah. It was good though, because if the water is built up inside through the leaks in the top, you just had to drive over a bump and the water would flood to the front and run out the hole.
We've had a car that was so badly flooded, because that one didn't have a hole in the floor, just everywhere else, that whenever we went up a hill, we'd have to say to the kids in the back, lift your feet up, because all the water would rush backwards.
Yeah, we used to put newspapers down in the footwells to catch the water.
Yeah, we've driven some sheds.
And then pick them up and chuck them away. Oh, those are the good old days. Yes, I wouldn't want them back.
No, not those cars.
There's no chance of the car rusting now, because as we found out to my embarrassment, it's carbon fibre.
Yes.
Yes, and you can't stick magnetic signs on the carbon fibre.
No, no matter how much you pay for them.
Just falls on the floor. Right, do you want another
let's
question?
Let's have another question. Oh, wrong one. There we are, we're back.
Disappeared.
Told it's been a long day.
Now, we showed some of the history of Wiveliscombe and some of the buildings, but I referred to other points of interest that were outside of the town, and I mentioned that there is earthworks which are clearly visible from above. The top of the one mountain is completely flat. It's almost semicircular except for where the quarry has chucked a big chunk out, and you can see quite clearly on aerial photos the two circular ridges where there was the 1.5 metre and the 2.5 metre bankings with a ditch in between, which were the defence mechanism and fort area back in the Iron Age. So we're going a long time back. But that area, obviously, and this is what happens when something is used once, because it's the ideal place, then century after century, millennia after millennia, other people will make use of it. So when they've been digging in that area, they found it wasn't only the Iron Age people, but the Neolithics were up there. Then later the Romans came along and they were up there. And of course, Romans usually leave their artifacts here, there and everywhere. And on that site, they have found 2 hoards of Roman coins. My question is, how long ago did they find the first of those hoards of Roman coins? Was it A, 300 years ago, B, 200 years ago, or C, 100 years ago?
Go.
How long ago did someone discover the first hoard of Roman coins there on the hill fort outside Wiveliscombe?
Oh, hello, Stephen.
Do you think it's 300 years ago, 200 years ago, or 100 years ago? Where are you going? Well, we've got a bit of a variety. It seems to be A's and B's that people are going with.
Yes, not many
Got
C's.
one or two C's, but predominantly A's and B's.
Well, I'm going to cheat and have a look myself. Did that give you any clues? Right then, so do we have a winner?
We do.
Right.
We do indeed. Because if you want to be a winner, you have to have put down either A or 300. Because it was in the early 1700s that they discovered the first hoard of coins. So we're talking 300 years ago that somebody discovered them. And the first person to put that answer was the first answer.
Yeah. Well done.
Yeah, it was Mr. Dan Fetters.
Yes, well done, Dan.
And then a name that we have already seen earlier in the evening, Mr. Mike Sage.
Well done, Mike.
And then Colin Scott,
Well done, Colin.
who pipped
Oh,
Beata Heinz.
oh Beata, nearly.
Yeah, and Rachel Bailey and Christina they were all coming in A's then, but
yeah.
the first of that batch was Colin. So we've got Dan, Mike, Colin, you've got first, second, third.
Well done, and well done to everyone for taking part.
Indeed, indeed.
Right.
It's all part of the fun.
So
we've
now-
got a picture.
We've got a picture.
Got a
We
picture.
have two pictures.
Yes, but we've got a picture.
Right then. So which one do you want to go for
If
first?
let's put Oliver's creation on, and then we'll have the other one later.
Look at
Look
that.
at that. Now, that is impressive, isn't it? Yeah, no, that is very impressive. That is a Rhode Island in the garden.
I think it's a flower bed, not a
It's
Rhode Island.
Yeah. Caroline has always wanted a roundabout in the garden. She's wanted to be able to drive in, go round the roundabout, and drive back out again, rather than have to reverse the car in.
Yeah, some would like that.
That's Kai's always said, oh, I wouldn't mind one of them places. Long enough frontage, and that would be just ideal, wouldn't it? Like that. Come up and drive around.
Yeah.
It. But that was in the garden at Oliver and Kate's home. I do believe there was a little help from grandfather when it comes to building it. And all of those bricks have been reclaimed from one place or another. And the ones around the top there with the names all showing, they are bricks that Oliver has discovered on his adventures.
Yeah, so it's a lovely memento of all his travels
Indeed.
and journeys out. So well done, Oliver. It looks wonderful.
Fantastic. I got to be honest, Caroline said that is really good. I wouldn't mind
Yeah,
one
I'm
of them in the
impressed.
garden.
No, it's very nice.
Yeah, and the way it's built, the way they've used the bricks, because it frees them up and lets the air and the sort of everything through, because they haven't just cemented the walls, but they've sat them on the edge of each other as they go around, and it makes it a more interesting shape.
It does.
And so excellent design.
Yes.
And well done on finding the bricks, and well done on putting them into such a good use. And in the email I received, it did say that the bricks from the brick swap have been included in
There we
that
go. So
top
it's a
layer.
famous flower bed then.
So now he's got,
As seen in the brick swap.
yeah, he's got the bricks from the brick swap all in there.
Oh, hello, Rufus. Right, so next we're going to have... Do you want to do your news bit now?
I can do my
Do
news.
we have a news bit? Let's have a news bit, if I can find it.
Some more happy news. A stranger I met at the beach gave me her kidney. That was the headlines.
Not Phil.
No, this was the headline. A stranger I met at the beach gave me her kidney. And this is a very local story. Caroline was over there in the States with her story. This happened down at Barry. which isn't far from here. It's a
It isn't.
seaside resort we know well.
Yes, it was the sort of place that we always went to on school trips because it was about an hour away.
Yeah, been on school trips, Sunday school trips and all sorts. Lucy Humphrey potentially only had a few years to live when she took a trip to the beach with her partner and 2 dogs. But thanks to a chance encounter with a stranger who was chosen by one of her pets, because what happened was they're on the beach, there's a lady over on the other side crocheting, and one of the dogs went over and was sniffing this lady, so they called it back, put it back, went back over, brought it back, and then they apologised and said, oh, I don't mind, I like dogs, I don't mind, but they're 2 Dobermans, so they thought you've got to keep them away. Not everybody's at ease with a Doberman wandering over. But they said, oh, we don't know why she's doing this, because we thought maybe you had food in your bag or something like that. So they got chatting and ended up with an invite to a barbecue, went to the barbecue, and then the lady says, oh, I'm sorry, no, I can't drink because I'm on dialysis. And the lady who they'd met turned around and said, oh, that's a coincidence, because I've just gone on the register as a kidney donor. And of course they said, oh, who are you giving your kidney to? They thought she'd registered to help a relative. She said, anyone who wants it, I'm just willing to give one of my kidneys if I can help someone. So they exchanged numbers. They contacted the specialist. They did the tests. And it was a perfect match. Now, because of the condition this lady had, it wasn't just kidney failure, because of the condition she had, she was terminal and she needed a perfect match. And I'll just look, and it says the surgeon told us it's a 1 in 22 million chance that you will find a perfect match in the world. And this lady found someone on a beach. We can't be sure, but people now suspect, did the dog start going over to the lady because the dog thought the lady smelled just like her master and picked up on something, because they now use dogs to find diseases and all sorts. But whatever happened there, that coincidental meeting, that concern of the lady not to be her dog to trouble her, the other lady saying no problem, getting to talk, led to life-saving surgery and a kidney transplant, which I thought was very good news.
Very nice.
So we've had an example from Caroline of how you never know when to stop hoping, because 13 years on, you can end up with something coming back that you thought would gone forever. And for this lady, I'm sure as the years went by on that waiting list, she must have felt that there was that possibility things weren't going to work out. But there she are, on beach, meets a lady, saves her life, which I thought was a lovely story.
Yes.
I wanted to share it tonight, just to bring a little bit of happy news.
Why not?
Because if you want...
Oh, thank you, Brian O'Brien. Well done, you managed to interrupt Phil and you give us a coffee donation.
It's very kind of you.
Thank you ever so much, it's really kind of you. Thank you.
There we go. So there we go. Linda Pizen says, amazing story. And Beata said, I wonder if the dog could smell it. And that's what we're thinking. Obviously, if they were a perfect match in the kidneys, then that meant there was something very similar about the physiological makeup of the 2 individuals.
Because they reckon now dogs can smell bladder cancer in a urine sample, don't they? So, they've got pretty good noses.
They're wondering if perhaps all the dog may have picked up on is the fact this person smells exactly like my mistress. So she thought, so the dog kept going over and thought, this is curious. But it got the conversation going. But if they hadn't got the invite to the barbecue, and if she hadn't refused the drink because they didn't come up on the beach, and then the timing that the lady didn't just say, oh, well, maybe I can help. She said, oh, just a couple of days ago, I registered on the list. So it all worked out. Yeah. Local girl, met a local girl, and life was saved. And I just thought, what a heartwarming story. And it does show that however the situation looks, something can come in from the side and change everything, in a moment. I know sometimes life is going well, and in a moment it can all get turned upside down. But even when we're going through dark times, in a moment everything can become different. So we can just, hold out for those moments and encourage each other along the way. And I'm sure they are so glad they went to the beach that day.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. So there we go, folks. Some good news.
Rufus was saying his brother's been on a waiting list for 5 years for a kidney transplant, and none of us are a match.
Yeah. Well, like I say,
it's not an easy thing to come by, is it?
That lady said the perfect match is 22 million to 1. That's big odds, But we really root for your brother to get that match, buddy. We really do, because I know it's I've dealt with lots of folks over the years, and they're in situations, and it's that moment the call comes and everything changes in a second. In a second, one phone call completely change your life, and we hope that phone call comes soon, friend.
Right, so now let's have time's getting on. Should we have another question?
We can do, dear. We're doing really well. Okay.
Right.
Now, I mentioned earlier that Caroline likes to do a bit of window shopping, and she knows you do too, so she takes the camera. And there were a few things in the courthouse window that caught her eye, including those rather strange but interesting rabbit sculptures.
I thought they were cute.
Yeah, I did. I thought they were, I can imagine one of those sat on the coffee table looking rather unusual.
I think I put it in the garden. I think it's good in the garden when they peeping from behind some flowers.
Don't know how you'd have to bring them in for the winter, I would imagine. Don't think they'd winter well.
Lexi says Caroline likes expensive house window shopping like me. Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Rightmove. Oh, I love Rightmove. Have you been on Rightmove? Don't put in a top price and just see what comes up. Oh,
she says to me, "Oh, look at this house," and I look at it and I think, "Oh yeah." So this isn't a possibility for moving. No. This is if I ever win a million, the Euro millions.
Oh, look at London. Oh, wow, they've got some gorgeous properties. You're looking at like 35, 45 million pounds, but they're very nice.
Yeah, indeed. I like my caravan. Thing is, when we take our caravan, which didn't cost that, and park it in a field, we get some brilliant views. And we get some lovely surroundings, and it's beautifully furnished.
We don't have the ridiculous bills. We had a 45 million pound house.
Indeed.
So Abigail said, I'm the same as Caroline, but I look at boats. I don't mind having a look at those either. They got some lovely ones up on the Chelsea embankment in London on the Chelsea embankment. Very nice.
Right then. So, as well as the rabbits and the lamps and the rug, Caroline also spotted a rather expensive upcycled chest of drawers.
I don't know if it was upcycled or whether it was just made. I think it was made to look old.
You think it was made to look old rather than old?
I think so, yeah.
Well, whatever it was,
yeah. Here's
my question.
Go on then, ask it.
How many drawers did you get for your £865 price tag? Were there 24 drawers? That would be A. Or were there 38 drawers? That would be B. Or were there 46 drawers? That would be C.
Go.
So it was one of them cabinets that had what some people call that word, chemist's
apothecary.
Straw. Yeah.
Phil always had trouble with apothecary bottles.
Yeah, I can't say apothecary. So them chemist drawers, we keep all the different...
And some of them are sneaky because they look like they're a row of 4 drawers and they're not. They're just one big drawer.
Yeah, but we're counting
I think that one was individual drawers.
Yeah, I'm counting anything that had an handle on it, I've counted as a drawer. So if it had a dropper, count it as a drawer. So I want to know, do you think that the cabinet that Caroline looked at in the shop window at the courthouse, do you think it had 24 drawers? Do you think it had 38 drawers, or do you think it had 46 drawers? Where do we go?
The answers are coming in.
Yeah, and we've
not
got
many A's.
All the answers. We've got a variety.
I don't know, there's quite a few.
Yeah, further down,
yeah, right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, Lexi said, my friend recently got a huge Welsh dresser, about 3 times the size of the drawers you saw, for £300. Now, my father, when I was about 9, he was a builder, And he came home from work, and in the back of the builder's van, he bought a genuine, hundreds of years old, probably a 200-year-old Welsh dresser. And we brought it in the house to show my mother, him and his mate. And my mother said, you can put that at the back, it's an old thing, I don't want that in my house. And she found somebody to take it away for nothing. It was probably worth a fortune. But she didn't like old things.
No. Right then.
Oh, P. Mitch said you could take your caravan to London. I am thinking about that. There's a place called Lee Valley, and apparently it's just a short bus ride and then a tube ride into the central London. So that is tempting me.
Yeah, we are thinking on those lines, we are. Right then. What was the correct answer? The correct answer was 38, because there were 6 drawers, little drawers, 6 rows of, and then there were 2 wide drawers at the bottom. So 6 is 36 and 2 is 38.
Yep.
So the answer was B. So congratulations to Ed Creative.
Well done,
who
Ed.
Put a B in before we even started. Put a B in for question 1, but it was C. Put a B in for question 2, but it was A. And he's put a B in again, and he's got it right.
They are perseverance.
You gotta stick with the plan, Ed. So Ed got it first. West Country Mudlarks. There we go. They've got the B and...
Well done. Sorry, I got carried away then reading comments.
And he's there again. Mr. Mike Sage.
Well done, Mike.
There we go. So it's Ed, West Country Mudlarks, and Mike. You have got it. And Mike pipped to the post 4 in a row. There were 5 came in at once. Mike was the top, and then there was Lynn, Tina, Beata, and Christina. All had B's, but Mike was top of the list. He got in there. So there we go. You've got gold, silver, and bronze.
Well, Catherine's always wanted an apothecary chest. And Abigail Howe said, my mother had a Welsh dresser in the dining room. Now, I can't be sure of this, because I don't trust my memory anymore, but I'm pretty much sure the difference between a normal dresser and a Welsh dresser is you've got the drawers, and then a normal dresser has got the back on it from anywhere else in the country, but a Welsh dresser has got an open back. So it goes up and over, it's got the shelves, but you can see the wall. This would be the top of a Welsh dresser then. Whereas if it was just
that's your theory, according to your memory.
Can anybody say, yes, that's right, or you're talking rubbish?
But it was an interesting town, because I did mention that others may feel the same way. I've always thought of Somerset and cider, you know, and as I said, it has been one of the biggest cider producing counties ever since they kept records, which has been for about 1,000 years, and it's been one of the biggest producers. But this particular town that we were in, the business that saved the town was not making cider, it was making ale. So obviously they liked their ale as well. But quite a story there. And of course it was the people, the Hancocks, that set up the brewery who built the courthouse. They were the original owners and builders of the courthouse. So it's always nice when you go somewhere and start to delve into the history and start to find out how things worked, because some towns pretty much went to nothing when the major industry ended. We've lived through it here in Wales because, of course, we lost mining during my lifetime. I went from the school at 16, I went into the mines, went underground, trained as a mechanic and a fitter, went on through the things, and 12 years later I was out of work. And all of the mines in Britain now, every deep mine in Britain is closed. So we've seen that, and some areas manage to pull through and other areas don't. And it's when you look back over history you can see the difference. And to think half of the population, or half the workforce of the entire town were working for the brewery. That's quite an influential employer you got going there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And the lovely thing is that you can see that, as I mentioned, the local authority a few years back decided, we haven't got the money to pay for Christmas lights anymore, and we haven't got the money to maintain the public toilet facilities anymore, so they'll have to close. And the local people said, no, we're not closing them, we'll do it. And as I say, the newspaper report was that what they've got now, their Christmas light display now, is better than it was when it was being publicly funded, because they've got together as the people. And I think sometimes it's that spirit, it's that sort of determination that, no, we're not accepting this, we're going to do something about it. And that can change everything. But obviously what you do need is employment, and they got the employment after all the cloth industries went, through Mr. Hancock opening his brewery there on top of the hill, which was a bit of a climb, but nowhere near as big a climb as we did in Glastonbury.
No, but don't, another secret.
Yes.
Abigail, I've lost it now, it's all moved. That's right, Linda Peterson said there will have to be a new t-shirt, I beat Mike Sage.
No,
and then Mike Sage said it'll be sold out in no time. Right, Abigail said, are there any coal mines still open?
No, we have an open cast. Just for people who don't know, I worked in a deep mine, which meant that I went to work and it had 2 shafts, wheels in the air, rope over the top of the wheels. We got into a cage, as we called it, which was a very crude lift, and then we hurtled down through the ground for half a mile, got out underneath, went in, walked 2 miles to a coal face, cut the coal, it went out on conveyor belts, came up the pit. What they now do is they go to the top of the mountain and they rip the top off the mountain. Completely
Going from the top instead of
tear
going
the
down.
top off the mountain, chuck it all to one side, send lorries down, driving into a crater, a man-made crater, and the lorries drive down around the edge. They fill the lorries with coal, they drive back up and they tip it and put it onto trains. So obviously it's cheaper to rip the top off a mountain than it is to sink shafts. Because
Not so good if you live near it though, because like the shaft didn't really make any difference to the neighbours, but with the people living near an open cast, there's a lot of noise and a lot of dust, isn't there?
Well, they did protest against it when it opened. They've tried to get it shut, but we have heard recently that the date for the closure has passed. They do have the right to apply for an extension, but the local authority have refused it. But the last deep mine has closed. But here in Wales, there's an interesting story about the last deep mine in Wales, because it was called Tower Colliery. And back when they were shutting all the pits, the government announced all the pits are shut in, they can't be run, they can't make money. And they went to Tower Colliery and they said, you're closing, the pit's gone. So what they did, the union got all the men together and they said, what if we buy the pit? So they pooled their redundancy and bought the pit. And the union rep became the manager, and they ran that pit for 30 years, producing coal, sending it to the very same power station that had been taking it all along, and they all had jobs. Some of those men retired from there, and their children had jobs for 25 years in the pit that was going to close. When it was exhausted, they had to close because now the coal was gone 30 years later, which is fair enough. But they say that the sale of the land has given the men more redundancy than when they would have closed 30 years ago. So that's a lovely story. There's a film being made about it as well, I think. But that's a success story where the men themselves bought it as a cooperative and ran it for themselves and produced the coal and sold it.
Beata says, where do they have open mining in Wales? They've got one in Merthyr. That's the one that's nearest us. And that's about 35-40 minutes from here.
We drove past it today, didn't we?
And in some of our drives into places, and possibly not, just in the drives into, we drive past somewhere and you can see big trucks and things, and that is the open cast. We drive right down with the side of that. That they're filling, you can see they're levelling it off, because whenever they finish with an open cast, they have to put it back to it being like farmland. So now they're starting to fill it all back in.
What they used to do, I don't know if they can do it now, because the laws have changed in Wales now. We've got very strict laws on recycling and everything else. But what they used to do is dig the open cast, and then when it was all the coal was taken out, you were left with a hole that was massive. So the council would then send their refuse trucks in for the next 10 years, dump all the rubbish in the bottom, just millions of tons of household waste, and then they'd shove the rocks on top and put the mountain back up and bury it all in the middle. But I don't think they're allowed to do that anymore.
So, no.
That was landfill on a mega scale. But yeah, we have got open cast up at Merthyr Tydfil.
Because Rufus said Aberthaw is still a coal-fired power station. Tower Colliery supplied it till the government stopped.
Yeah. Yeah, it was because that was the daft thing. Aberthaw wanted to buy their coal, but the government wanted to shut the pit. Eventually, they couldn't get the coal out, which will happen to any mine. Mines will always eventually close because you can't just keep getting the coal, but eventually there is no more profitable coal to be got. The only argument is, at all those pits they shut reached that point, and these men turned round and called their bluff. I know for a fact there was millions of tons left in our pit, but up there they called their bluff because they had the guaranteed customer. They decided to go for it, and they pulled it off, which was quite an achievement. But yeah, those changes do have a massive impact on communities. We've seen it here. We used to have a new car, a garage that you could buy brand new cars in up in New Tredegar. You had Fry's up there. You had Arrow Ford, Gibbs's over in Pontefraith. You had Datsun down in Tyrabirth. Now, if you want a new car, you've got to go to Newport or Cardiff.
Yeah.
Because there are no jobs in the valleys that would sustain the buying power to buy new cars. So they don't exist here. And it's that knock-on effect. And that's why it's interesting when you look back to these more ancient towns of Somerset, who real wealth came in the 1500s because of the cloth industry. But then, of course, with the developments that came and cheap imports and mechanisation and all the rest of it, that went out the window, the jobs disappeared, and they went through these same things 200 years ago. And to see how, in this particular town, one man's idea to open a business and employ people saw them through. And I always think that if we learn from history, there are lessons to be learned. There are lessons to be learned.
Now, Ed's saying there's a quarry near me. I sometimes hear the sirens before they blast. Sirens sound like air raid sirens. Now, we used to have those in the colliery, Bargood Colliery, opposite where I used to live when I was a child. And we'd always grown up with the
4-minute warning.
4-minute warning. And every time that went off for a couple of minutes, I'd be really scared, thinking, oh, is this the end of the world? And it wasn't. It was just the siren going off over in the pit. It always caught me out. Another thing was a fire. Every Wednesday, they used to do a practice run with the siren on the fire station, and you could hear that, and I'd be like, oh no, it's a 4-minute warning.
Yeah.
But, never was.
We've got a quarry up here, haven't we?
We have.
That's where they got the stone for Blue Peter.
Yes, but put Petra, their dog Petra, when she died, they wanted a plinth to put, huge plinth to put the bust of the dog on, and they got that from Gethley Gate Quarry.
Yeah, it's blue stone, I think. It's something like, I don't know, the stone they get out there is like a blue stone.
Is it?
I think so, yeah.
Right. No.
I think I remember that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But, yeah,
Right.
which is basically a big hole in the top of the mountain, but that's rock rather than coal. But when you look into these coal open cast mines, sometimes you can see mine workings where the levels used to drive in from the side, and as they go down, they hit through where the levels have been worked for years, and all they've taken is a little patch of what was there. But when they rip the lid off, they can take it all
because
out
with the
there.
deep mine they used to go down with a level. If they knew there was a mountain, they just drilled straight in sideways like that, so there was no headgear or anything like that. They could just go in straight, so that was the level. So when they blew the top off the mountain, they'd find the
tunnels running
because
through.
People were setting out levels everywhere. It wasn't necessarily that official.
No,
People would
back
find a
in
bit of
the day.
mountain and start tunneling in.
Yeah, back before there was planning regulations, they just get in there and get the coal.
Right, we need. Oh, I'm going to show you what I bought. Where did you put it?
Do you want me to get it?
I'll get it.
Just on the map there. Yeah, we'll show you Caroline's buy from this holiday. There we go.
I'm coming.
Need to hold it for you.
I got it. It's okay.
You okay?
This is Arthur Arthur Bell. This is my rose I got to treat myself from the garden centre. Now when they start off, where's the deep yellow one? They start off quite deep yellow and then the flowers fade and fade, but the smell is amazing. Really is fabulous. And there's a reason why this rose is called Arthur Bell. We looked into it after we bought it. And the man who bred roses at that time, he bred lots of, I think it was over 60 roses. But he always liked to use the name of somebody to do with the, behave monkey, to do with the brewery side of things, because that way then he was hoping to get freebies and it usually worked. So he named this after the man who ran Bell's Whiskey and he got a lot of free whiskey. Very good plan, that. So that's why he's called Arthur Bell. And I've already taken one of the flowers off because it was starting to drop its petals. I think that will be next. You can you see there the difference in the three colours? Which way do I need to go? That way. I love the way they fade. And it looks like you've got two bushes in one, the dark yellow and the light yellow. So that's going in the garden. And I thought I'm going to surround that with blues and lilacs. That sort of thing. It would look lovely, the yellows and blues all together. So there we go, that was my buy.
And the other thing we discovered after buying the rose, bringing it home and doing the research, is that the gentleman who had a bit of a penchant for whiskey and named it Arthur Bell actually bred that rose and registered it in 1964.
Yes.
Which is the same year as Caroline's parents registered her birth.
There you go.
So there we go.
Me and the rose have got something in common.
Yes, Arthur Bell roses came into the world the same year as you did.
My rose doesn't have as many wrinkles as I do, though. It doesn't seem fair. Right, now then, let's have another question. I think we got one more question to go. There we go.
We've got a few questions yet. Okay. Keith Floyd, the TV chef, grew up in Wiveliscombe on Silver Street. But the town also has a Rotten Row and a Golden what? Is it A, Golden Hill, B, Golden Road, or C, Golden Terrace?
Go.
What do you think? It's got a one shot. It showed two signs, Silver Street and Golden. Now, did it read A, Hill, B, Road, or C, Terrace?
Oh, Rufus has been working in Tata Steel over 24 years. How long's it been Tata Steel, Rufus? I thought that was a relatively new name. But maybe I just hadn't realised it was.
It is relatively new, yeah. I think Tata Steel is an Indian company.
Is it Tata or Tata?
I think if I'm right, I may be wrong, they're an Indian steel company that took over, because of course it was British Steel for years, wasn't it? And then it became, was it Chorus?
Sounds familiar.
Something like that, something with C, and then Tata Steel.
Go on, Rufus, give us a potted history. What were the names of it?
But it's been touch and go for years. And it'll be a worrying time if that goes. There's another major employer.
I love the look on it, though. I love seeing when you look over from the motorway, especially at night, and you can see all the big flames coming out at the top of the towers. I love that. And all the lights. I'd like to have one of the houses looking out over that. It's pretty, and then with the sea beyond. Right then, so do we have a winner?
We do. I'm just trying to find out if we've got three winners.
Oh, it's one of those questions.
We have got three winners.
Oh, right. So I think I can see what the answer's going to be. There's not that many answers in. I think people are a little bit confused with that one.
Yeah, it was Golden Hill. Yeah, it was Golden Hill. The top sign read Silver Street, and then Golden Hill. And funnily enough, we went to a couple of towns and every one of them had a silver something and a golden something in each town. It was like as if they liked those names. But it was Hill, which means we've got to go down to the sixth answer to get the first correct one, which is P. Mitch.
Well done, P. Mitch.
Then we've got to go down another 5 to get to Tina Thompson.
Well done, Tina Thompson.
And then we got to go down and down and down and down and down to Lisa Warren.
Well done, Lisa Warren.
There we go. So it's
Right.
P. Mitch, Tina and Lisa, all winners. And to be honest, there weren't many more.
No.
In fact, I think Abigail is the only other one to have got it right. So we'll give you a mention, Abigail, and a special bonus gilt bronze podium of your own.
Silver gilt.
Yeah, because we only had 4. We only had four
well
correct answers that time.
Beata said it's Indian from Mumbai.
There we go.
And Catherine Williams said we have a silver street in Brecon.
Ah, like I say, I didn't come across it before, but when we were down there, I noticed it in a number of places. I think Glastonbury had it. I think Street had it.
Yes, very common.
Yeah, very, very
Popular rather than common,
Yeah,
we'll say.
I think popular. There we
Oh,
go.
Lee said fourth is a chocolate medal. Everybody want to be fourth then, wouldn't
That's
they?
right. Nobody wants to come first, second, or third.
Right, so now we got that all interesting question. The big question coming up.
I know. We got one more before then.
What's that?
Yeah.
Another one.
I have. I got another question before we get to the big question.
We've got too many questions. Maybe we'll have another question.
Right then, folks, here we go. This is question 5 minutes. We often in our footage come across public houses and hotels because there is not a town, I don't think, in Wales that doesn't have either a public house or an hotel, and there don't seem to be many in England. On this occasion, we filmed a hotel, and in the hotel's name there was an animal. What was the name of that animal? Was it the white hart? That would be A. The white bear? That would be B. Or the white horse? That would be C.
Go.
So it was definitely the white something. Now, was it the white A, hart, B, bear, or C, horse?
We saw a pub called the White Ball. That's a very strange name for a pub. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, it was actually, I think that was actually at a Weatherspoons pub, wasn't it? I think it was.
Strange. What was the other thing we saw? The Pig and Wheel. A pub called the Pig and Wheel. And where on earth did they get the Pig and Wheel? Plough and harrow I can understand, but Pig and Wheel?
Yeah. As we said, maybe the farmer used a pig in a treadmill to run his energy, to pump his well.
Or to
So he had
spin
a
his
pig and a
spit
wheel.
for the thing, but we've never used
No, I think that would be very cruel to have him turn the spit while they're cooking his brother. Right then, so how are we doing this time? Oh, have we got a few more right answers? I think we just may have. We may have. Let's have a look.
Ed said, wouldn't a white boar be an albino? West Country Mudlarks, we have a pig and whistle. I've heard of pig and whistle. I suppose that's just as daft, isn't it? Unless, I've never seen a pig walking around with a whistle.
Okay. Well, we've got to come down a way again to get the right answer for this one.
Right.
Because it was the white hart. It was the white hart. So, where are we to? We are on the 5th answer to get A,
right.
which is Colin Scott.
Well done, Colin.
Another appearance from Colin. It's first for tonight, I believe, for Midlands Girl.
Oh, well done, Midlands Girl.
And then Talon.
Well done, Talon.
There we go. So they're the 3
Excellent.
correct answers because it was the white hart. Now, I thought I might have given that one away, see, because if I was going to pick 2 random animals, I probably wouldn't have picked a hart. Because it's not an animal that you refer to. I think of it more as a deer or something like that.
I've seen pubs called the White Hart,
Yeah,
so for
pubs
me
are
it was all,
called it.
I just thought, oh,
That's what I'm
let's give it
saying,
away.
because this pub's called the White Hart, and it was an unusual animal to pick. I thought I might have given it away, but I did to 3 people, obviously, or they remembered it.
Lexi's got a white heart near her. And Abigail says, in the US we have a grocery store named Piggly Wiggly. I know one day I'm going to go to America and I'm going to shop in Piggly Wiggly just for the fun of it. I wish we had Piggly Wigglies. It just makes it sound like a wonderful place to be. I know it's just a supermarket, but what a name.
Right then, now we can come to that all-important question.
Are you ready? This is the big one. This is the most important question of the night.
Now, I'm going to be very specific here. Are you listening, Ed? How many places?
Oh, Tom Burley, thank you ever so much. £20 super chat.
Oh, Tom.
Thank you, that's amazing. Thank you ever so much, Tom, and we really do appreciate that. Thank you.
We do. You are a gentleman, and I have always said it because it's true.
Yes.
A gentleman.
Thank you, Tom.
A real gentleman. The first gentleman Tom that we met, but we have met one or two from Yorkshire since.
Yes.
Excellent. Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
So, here we go. If Tom comes first now, they'll think it's all bribery and corruption.
I'll be bribed.
In how many places did Manky appear in this week's video? So although he may show up more than once, if he's in the same place, it counts as one. In how many places did he appear in this week's video? Was it A, 2, B, 3, or C, 4?
Go. Oh, Lexi said, I thought Tom was your son when I first started watching your channel. Lol. Yeah, remember the first time we went to meet Tom, because nobody's seen Tom. We waited. We didn't know who to expect, so we had to wait for Tom to approach us, because of course he knew us, he'd seen us.
Yeah.
We had no idea. We're looking around thinking, which one of these random people is Tom?
And I was expecting him to be like 20 years older. But he wasn't.
No, he was only 70.
Yeah, it was, but a real nice guy. Real nice guy. And we do hope to get Abby up to Yorkshire, because Caroline would love to film in Whitby.
Oh, yes. I'd have to go to Whitby.
Whitby.
Have some fish and... Whitby's famous for fish and chips, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's from Heartbeat, isn't it? It's Heartbeat country, I think, isn't it, over there? Okay, let's have a look here, folks. Let's see
Talon
what
said,
you're
random
saying.
guess, since I've got to catch up with your videos.
Who said that?
Talon.
Ah, well done. Random guess, and you won. Here we go. Let's have a look.
Ooh, Beata said, I thought 5 plus outtakes. This could get confusing now.
Yeah. Right then. Well, I'm going to give you the answer, and then if I've missed one, you're going to have to let me know. Because the answer that I have is C, 4. And if that is correct, then the first correct answer is going to be...
While you're looking, Tom Burley said, most of them, that's the chip shops in Whitby, fry in beef dripping, not to my taste.
Oh.
It's not very good for you, mind, beef dripping. Now we know we should be using polyunsaturated, not saturated. I suppose it really is important. We went to Holland and they were frying in lard over in Holland. And they were nice. We couldn't get anything else. We had to have those. And they were okay. They had a bit more flavour. But, no, I don't know. I tend to lean more to the healthy side nowadays. I can make an excuse to eat chips if they fried in something healthy. Not if they fried dripping.
Going for C or 4, Rachel Bailey is the first in with a 4.
Oh, well done, Rachel.
Then we've got Mike Sage with C.
Well done, Mike.
And then Midlands Girl with C.
Well done, Midlands Girl.
And of course, we're going to have to give a prize to Ribbles Finds and Crafts, because obviously they were going for the highest answer, although they said 5, because they've seen one more than anybody else. Now, here are where I believe they were.
Right, because Ribbles Finds and Crafts said, so see if you check out with Ribbles Finds and Crafts. They said 2 in flower beds, 2 in trees, and 1 in a doorway, and the outtakes.
I've missed the doorway.
Oh! Phil's got it wrong again. This is always the most contentious part of the show.
I thought he was in a doorway, and I watched the video twice, and I thought Caroline's edited him out.
No, he was in there.
But I missed him. In which case, because I had him in the poppies, I had him in the tree in the churchyard, I had him behind the sign for the dill, and I had him on the bamboo plant at the end. But I went looking for him in the doorway and I couldn't see him. And I assumed that he'd been edited out.
No, he was there.
So...
Beata said I counted them especially.
Ooh.
Kate Millen said, God admit, we saw 5 too.
There you go.
Oh, we're going to have to get an independent adjudicator in on this who can let us know every week how many they count. Dan
Fetters, 5. Ed Creative, 5.
I'm still wrong.
So there we go. I missed it.
Yes, I agree. In a galaxy far away, we need an external judge for this part of the show.
The thing is, I know how many are in there, but then I then have to watch the video in case one doesn't get through the edit. And I double checked because I thought he was in the church doorway. And I looked and couldn't find him.
Yes, he was there.
There we go. It was 5. I tell you what, it's a contentious thing to count monkeys. This is where it all happens, folks. It's happening here.
It's lucky this is an official quiz, isn't it? Because if it was, can you imagine the trouble we get into with the Gaming Commission or something?
Yeah.
We say, no, you do have to have the right answer.
Well, it was near.
It was roughly, yes, within the same 10, to the nearest 10.
I'll try and do better next time. But I think I'd better go lie down now.
I think
My brain is hurting.
Oh, Tom said there's apparently one fish and chip shop that uses vegetable oil near the bridge on the Abbey side of Whitby. Ooh, right, I'll keep an eye out for that. And Ed said, my grandmother always fried with lard. My mum did. And do you remember the lard would set hard and you had like a pan with a basket in? And you turn the heat on, you have to wait until all the lard had melted because you pick it up the basket and it would just pick a big lump of lard up as well. And then you cook your chips and then they go cold and they'd be covered in lard.
Those were the days. Put the meat in the pantry and then you get it out and there's little mouse prints as they run across them.
We never had that. My mother never kept anything, so...
There we go, folks. Well, I'm going to go lie down now because my head's hurting because I've been counting monkeys for too long and I still got
Andrea
it wrong.
Massari said, I never appeared on Phil's computer. Oh, well, I'm not here for the glory. Sorry about that, Andrea. The lists, they come in all different orders. We never know where we are with them. Right. Oh, well.
Right.
Medals for everyone. That was such a mess up at the end. Everybody can have a gold medal. Everybody except Phil gets a gold medal.
It wouldn't be the same if I got it right. End the show. I want to lie down.
End the show. I'm embarrassed.
Not at all. I can live with it.
Right, well, thank you ever so much for joining us. It's been great fun. I really enjoyed watching the chat and hope everybody who's ill, under the weather or whatever it is gets better, gets happy very soon, and we'll see you all next time. But until then, don't forget, have fun.
Bye.